This is crazy because we just got a ton of new story leaks about Avengers Doomsday that fans are not happy about. Mark Ruffalo leaked Avengers Secret Wars already, plus brand new information about when we're going to get trailers for Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day, and a whole lot more. Let's get into all of it. Before we get to the bigger Doomsday leaks, the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that we are not going to be getting a new trailer for Avengers Doomsday or Spider-Man Brand New Day at the Super Bowl this coming Sunday. A lot of people expected to see the trailer for at least one, if not both of these films, but it's not happening. Instead, on the actual Super Bowl day, we're going to get Disclosure Day, The Mandalorian and Grogu, Scream 7, Toy Story 5, Minions 3, The Odyssey, and Street Fighter trailers. Now, there is some good news though. The Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is expected to release this month because this is controlled by Sony, and they have the Spider-Verse movies releasing in theaters this week, and next week they have their new animated movie Go coming out. It's very likely going to be attached to one of those instead of just spending like $7 million to put it on the Super Bowl. Doomsday, unfortunately, it seems like we might have to wait a couple months for this, maybe closer to May, but again, the movie doesn't come out to December, and we've already had 4 teasers for it, so honestly, that's not that big of a deal. Switching topics, yes, Mark Ruffalo has confirmed that Chris Hemsworth will be returning as Thor in Avengers Secret Wars, which a lot of people are acting like this is some big deal. I feel like we all knew Thor was likely not going to die in Doomsday and that he was just going to be in Secret Wars. I will admit, though, it is funny that Mark Ruffalo just always spoils this stuff. Like, he was literally doing an interview with Chris Hemsworth for this other movie they have, and they were asked, like, oh, which MCU star has been in the most movies? And he was like, oh, Chris Hemsworth has been. He's been in 6, or at least he's going to be. The next one hasn't started filming yet. Like, this dude just cannot stop slipping up. But again, we kind of already knew this. And last little bit of official news here before we get into the big leaks. James Marsden, who obviously plays Cyclops in the X-Men movies and now Avengers Doomsday, says that X-Men fans will be blown away by Doomsday and that the Russo brothers just are upping the ante and Marvel is just giving everybody exactly what they want. This movie is going to be insane for the X-Men. Now let's switch over to some Doomsday leaks because the first one is making a ton of people mad because it has to do with the role of Peggy Carter in this movie, and so many Marvel fans are just sick of this character because she does just feel like Marvel is forcing her on us in so many different projects lately. And honestly, I'm not disagreeing with it. She does feel like a little bit of an industry plant character, but we have a new leak from the Cosmic Circus, who has been very reputable in the past and gotten a lot of different castings and release dates right before they were announced. He says that Haley Atwell's Peggy Carter will reportedly be a follower of Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday. Now, how this insider works is people pretty much ask them questions on their website and they just kind of answer them. So someone asked, hey, thanks so much for hosting these. My questions are, will Peggy be a Doom witch? And they responded saying that it's more of a follower of Doom than a witch, but not because she's evil or anything of the sort. She just thinks that what Doom is doing will help her and her son to fix the current status of the multiverse, which is partially the fault of Steve Rogers. Now, again, take all leaks with a grain of salt, but like I said, these guys are pretty reputable. And honestly, I feel like this is exactly what we needed to do with the character of Peggy Carter. Like, I know a lot of people just see that she's going to have a big role in this movie and are immediately mad at it, but I feel like this is actually an interesting angle to take with the character of her siding with Doctor Doom in this film, instead of just trying to make her like a Captain America clone, because that's just never going to work, but actually making her complicated, maybe seeing the dynamic between her and Steve disagreeing with this would be really interesting. We got a ton more to get to, but quickly drop a like on this video and let me know in the comments below, do you think this is a good angle to take for the character, or would you rather her just not be in the movie at all? Another one of the most interesting things brought up in this entire leak session was the fact that he says Doctor Doom will eventually be recast in the MCU's future. And again, digging into what was actually said, not just taking a tweet headline, someone asked, is there any truth to the theory that RDJ's Doom was Iron Man originally, but was tortured by Kang and ended up believing he was Doom? Which honestly, I've never heard that theory before. That would have been crazy. They said, no, there's no truth to that theory. In the same way that Chris Evans can play 2 different characters in the MCU, it's going to be the same with Robert Downey Jr. He can play Victor Von Doom and obviously Iron Man. And they go on to talk about the fact that, like, yeah, we've seen Chris Evans play the Human Torch in Deadpool and Wolverine, returning from when he played that in the old Fantastic Four movies, but he's also just Captain America. That's not like a Captain America variant or anything. They're just 2 different characters with the same exact face. But honestly, I know a lot of people's biggest complaint about RDJ being cast as Doctor Doom is that he was going to be the only Doom going forward. My only problem with this is that if you have like an entire Marvel Avengers trilogy with Doctor Doom as the villain, because we'll get to that soon, but yes, if you haven't heard the previous leaks, it seems like they're going to make Secret Wars into a 2-part movie. I don't know how you go from having Doom be the villain of a 3-part Avengers trilogy to then recasting him with a lesser known actor and having him just be like a regular Fantastic Four villain. So honestly, I feel like Marvel will go back on this, even if this is real and they're planning on it right now. We know plans are always changing in the MCU, and Kevin Feige is very fluid. I feel like if we have a very successful Doctor Doom here, we're not going to see another Doctor Doom, at least for a long time in the MCU, maybe like another 10 years or something. We'll get a completely like different version of that character somehow, but I don't know how that would work either, if we're being honest. Now, like I alluded to, this person is also backing up the claims we've had from Daniel RPK and multiple other insiders, and that is that the fact that Avengers Secret Wars is going to be split into 2 parts, but they actually have some real reasoning behind why this is happening. So this is long, but they pretty much say that yes, Avengers Secret Wars was originally approved approved to start filming in the coming months, but now it is ground into what is known as a conditional start phase, which essentially means that Marvel cannot legally film anything for Secret Wars until a new verification of the filming contract is achieved. And they say in the few instances that this has happened, it's because there has been a major shift in from what the production was originally looking like. For example, one film now being split into two parts. While this doesn't confirm that it's 100% going to be a two-part movie, it at least means that they're taking the precautions if they want to turn it into a two-part movie. And again, based on how the success and trailer reception of Doomsday is, they might decide, hey, let's milk this for one more movie. And like I said before, I kind of hope they do. This is going to be the last time we see so many of these characters, probably Chris Evans in the MCU, RDJ, the classic Fox X-Men. Give me 3 movies with this and just go out with an absolute bang for the multiverse saga, especially since we know that Secret Wars is going to kind of consolidate the MCU, kind of get rid of the multiverse for good, kind of get rid of certain characters and just make things very neat again. Like I said, might as well go out with an Avengers trilogy. Now, getting a little bit more into the actual things happening in the movie, they also go on to say that the Darkhold, the runes, and Agatha Harkness's magic absorbing powers will be relevant to something Doctor Doom does in Avengers Doomsday, which I'm glad that we're actually going to be leaning into the magical side of Doctor Doom. That's one of the most interesting things about this character and what makes him such a massive threat. Like, yeah, this guy is a genius. He's super powerful. He's good with science and magic itself. And honestly, the more and more we hear about Doctor Doom in this movie, I feel like it's truly going to be one of, if not the best villain performances in the entire MCU. And it's really going to prove all the people that were wrong about RDJ landing this role incredibly wrong. Again, just for some added context, this is what he said about the full details of this. As much of this film is heavily based on the multiverse, time, and science, a good portion of it really goes into exploring the supernatural. The Darkhold, runes, and the way Agatha absorbs magic, it's all relevant to something Doom does in Avengers Doomsday. All I can tell you is beware the man who carries the word of God, which goes incredibly hard. It's a line right here. And it definitely seems like we're going to be seeing Doctor Doom present himself as literally a god figure to the entire multiverse before like trying to shut it down or something, which is going to be insane, or creating his new battle world. And I think we all know that by the time we get to Secret Wars, we are going to get that God Emperor Doom in his white cloak, and it's going to be so incredibly sick. Now, they also say that they think the Watcher could return in this movie. Again, this tweet kind of takes it out of context. I do want to go into the full thing, which is very short for this one. They were just asked, with Doomsday, should we expect to see any of the cosmic entities, things like the Celestials and stuff like that? Since the multiverse is ending, I think they would get involved. And he says that the most they've heard was about the Watcher, but that's about it. And honestly, I think the farthest this will go in these movies is just literally seeing the Watcher in the background in space or behind the battle world itself. If Doom does end up creating that in Avengers Doomsday, I don't think it's going to be like a major player in this film. Now, slightly unrelated, but I do want to bring this up because Channing Tatum, who obviously plays Gambit, he is returning in Avengers Doomsday and likely Secret Wars, is in the hospital. He had a shoulder surgery and he's going to be out for a couple months from filming or doing any real activity. It seems like he posted this on his own Instagram. So obviously I'm just wishing him the best and that he gets back to full health soon. And I don't think this is going to cause any delays for Secret Wars because again, that's not going to start filming until later this summer. And when he gets back to action, he can just have a stunt double do the more like complicated stuff on set, but still well wishes to him. Now, if you thought those Doomsday leaks were crazy, we also got leaks of literally every single character in the movie's costumes, including our first look at Doctor Doom. If you want to see all that, click the video at the top of the screen, or if you want to see my review of the latest Marvel TV show Wonder Man, click the video at the bottom, and thank you for watching.